This is a Big Facts Network exclusive.
Yo, what's up, peace? It's time for that big energy room. Coming to you live from Lucid F Club, the one and only
Big Kayla.
DJ Scream. I'm here, you know what I'm saying? Episode 2 of the big energy room. What's up? What's up? How you feeling? How's your frequency? How your energy?
I'm blessed. My frequency is getting up there. You know,
Okay.
I'm like mid-level right now.
Okay.
I'm in a little transition. How you feeling?
You know, you gotta have an umbrella for the days when it rain or storm. You know what I'm saying? Just hold your umbrella.
Adjust
storm
accordingly.
forever.
You know what I mean, and put it down when you get ready to come outside again.
Yeah. Nah, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. You know, what we were talking off camera, like something we're gonna build on today, and this is a wide spectrum, people. So keep an open mind. You know, follow us with this. We're here to try
big energy,
to help y'all and bring y'all, raise y'all energy. Trying to put distractions in perspective.
Yes. Okay.
Now, I do think that distractions sometimes are sometimes they're necessary. I feel like there's necessary distractions. I feel like there's almost like, I won't say invisible, but kind of like subtle distractions that you don't even know that are distractions. And then I guess the hard part is the complex distractions.
Yeah.
Because what if a distraction is someone that you love? What if a distraction is something that you love? What if it's some place that you love? What if it's some vice or hobby that you love? And I guess the other question that will come from the general people is, well, what is this distracting you from? And I just feel like every part of your life and the different elements of your life is supposed to be compounding to make you a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
So it's not that you shouldn't go through certain things, and it's not that you shouldn't even sometimes probably welcome certain distractions. It's just that, hey, there might be a moment where you just have to push this distraction to the side or put this distraction in perspective, because I need to progress, and that can be putting you in the stagnant space. So today we will be discussing distractions.
Yes.
What you
I
feel?
feel like distractions are provision sometimes, like they're a necessary part to build your awareness of self, of your environment, when you're in places. Like sometimes you may have a distraction that's just a feeling. It's what you call them ants. Automatic negative thoughts. Now, you're distracted by the overwhelmingness of the anxiety that comes with that. And then if you're not building that awareness to recognize when you're doing that, you won't know to do the thing to become undistracted. But that the provision part of it is the awareness that you derive. So next time when you're getting those automatic negative thoughts, now, hey, it's like, hey, okay, boom, I know that I'm thinking a certain way. So to prevent me starting to feel a certain way, let me go ahead and attack it now. If it's going to go do something, meditating, journaling it down, even if it's just to go outside, walk, have a conversation with somebody about something different and come back to it later. I think that's why I love my awareness with my distractions right now, because that perspective on what they're actually doing and that it is a part of the process, I don't let it make me feel defeated anymore. I don't think that it's uncommon. I realize that everybody, even the most successful people, get distracted, and it's okay. It's just what you do with it.
What do you think are 3 of your, and I'll say mine too, I'm going to think while I ask this, but what do you think are 3 of your biggest distractions?
Overcompensating in relationships, not just meaning romantic, but from, being a mom, being a woman, just anything, like overcompensating. I think that I began to become overzealous with my contribution to things, without actually taking the necessary time to evaluate if it's pouring back into the cup that I'm pouring from. Another thing too would be jack of all trades. Trying to do too many things at once.
That's just a cancer.
And not following one course until successful.
From a cancer.
That's derived from that overcompensating relationships. It'd be like, now I'm taking on XYZ from somebody else, or I'm overanalyzing what I'm doing over here so I can make more space for somebody else, instead of being comfortable with the boundary. And just, and kind of enforcing sometimes, like, hey, you know what? Now's not the time to do that. It's not the time to do that thing. And so there's provision that comes with that too, because it's like being able to be comfortable with saying no at a given time. And then I say my third distraction is the fear of success at times. Just being fearful of the fact that failure sometimes feels like such a negative thing. I'm learning to change my perspective on that to where it's like failure, and the word failure stands for, you know, like when I'm trying to do something and I'm not successful at it at my first attempt, it's literally my first attempt in learning, and it's okay. And so when I come back, I can derive a better success rate by just trying it again instead of allowing failure to feel like defeat. So those would be my 3 things. What about you?
Mine will probably be a little more like basic.
Yeah.
So one of the things is definitely other people's problems, because I'm just a person that cares.
Yeah.
So what I'm learning is that, all right, I'm gonna have compassion. You know what I'm saying? If somebody got a problem and want to hit me up, I'm gonna have compassion. But I'll spend my whole day trying to solve somebody else's problem. It ain't solve my own. You know what I'm saying? So I had to kind of put that in perspective of like you say, planting seeds. I'm gonna plant the seed to help you with your problem.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna plant the seed to help you with your problem and give you some gems and everything. But I'm not gonna hold your hand and walk through the whole day solving your problem, because I got a plate of my own right here. You know what I'm saying? So finding the balance and not letting other people's problems distract me. The gift and the curse of perfectionism, which has been like my lifelong. It's such a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
It's helped me to build and sustain a name, a brand, and a legacy and everything like that. But it's just stressed me seriously. So again, in therapy, she was like, perfectionism is a mental illness. I'm like, what are you talking about? But she was like, nah, like, for you to think that anything can be perfect, even if you're striving for it, for you to even believe anywhere, anything, the plate of food ain't perfect.
Yeah.
You're not perfect, and then there's also beauty within flaws.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I began to understand that, then I could just receive the flaws more and just say the flaws are part of the rest of this is how it's supposed to be. The crack is supposed to be in the floor. Like, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? The old kind of like obsessive compulsive people like, there's a crack in the floor.
Yeah.
That's just part of what it is. So I learned to accept that better. But at core, I'm still somewhat of a perfectionist, and I it's just there. You know what I'm saying?
It's just balance, understanding the perfect nature of being imperfect.
Yes.
And what comes with that, like there's a balance. There's a balance. There's good
Finding
and
the
bad,
balance.
with everything.
And number 3.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So if I ain't gonna lie, like, people be thinking I'm tripping. I think I'm gonna go to a farm soon. I got that from Drinky Gates. Shout out to Drinky Gates. And just take a week. But listen, if I can get back to like, Kayla, I have to write you a letter.
Yeah.
And put it in the mail.
Yeah.
I have to write y'all letters. And y'all
Yeah.
have to read them. I could do that for some time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I will, because this is a gift and a curse too,
Right.
right? But this thing, like right now, I got a text message.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna look at it.
Yeah.
It could throw me off my whole game for this.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to get through this to get to something. Like, I wake up and I got like different apps with different like motivations and affirmations and the Bible and everything.
Yeah.
But in order to get to that,
You gotta look at your phone.
the phone is there. Here comes the notification. So now all of a sudden I'm looking at the latest, greatest thing that happened in the world of social media, and you can't help but to just scroll. Let me just scroll real quick. Next thing you know, you done went far east when you was trying to go
You
far
thinking about
west.
some stuff, you scroll and bump into different type of energy, and you trying to be big. You know what, too? Suggestion on that, because I just learned how to do it with my daughter's phone. You can limit access to certain apps.
You can limit access to certain apps, but you still know your code and how to.
This is true. But that's the provision,
But mine
though.
does.
The accountability
My
with
whole
it.
phone shuts down at 9:30 p.m.
Okay.
It just shuts. She knows. Everybody know that. At 9:30, mine just goes dark mode.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When y'all hit me the other night, it was when you, Cuz, and Courtney hit me. Y'all were 5 minutes away. That's why I was like, right now?
Yeah.
Y'all made it 5. In 5 more minutes, y'all wouldn't have been able to reach me.
Yeah.
And sometimes.
Yeah.
When I wind out. Once I put on like them house shoes, it's a wrap.
What got you to the point going off of that to where you found your solution and deemed it necessary? Like, because it had to be something.
Well, I mean, I speak openly about what year are we in? 2024?
2024.
2023 in this chronic panic disorder, anxiety, going to the hospital, urgent room, whatever happened, right? Where my body was just way off kilter. But when I thought about it in this perfectionism, I'm just like, damn, like I haven't really taken a break.
Yeah.
Like even if I'm on vacation, I'm still tapped in. I haven't really plugged out. It eventually caught up with me, and again, and the therapist is like, people would. She said, I'm not grateful, but like I make a lot of money because people can't put the phone in perspective.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just thinking like, damn.
Wow.
And then what she said that really resonated with me was, that this phone was made for you. You weren't made for the phone. So a lot of people now, we're slaves to our phone. Like this is a phone that we're supposed to use to call people and communicate with people as we want to. But that ain't it. If your phone ring right now, you jump up.
Yeah.
Like you're a slave to the phone. The car was made for you. Imagine if your car just cranked up by itself and started making noise and you ran out to it. You see what I'm saying? So I think that and technology as a whole, because there's a lot. Like even if I put my phone over there, it's on my wrist.
My watch,
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's just like now I was just like, nah, you know what? I talked to her about FOMO, fear of missing out on whatever.
That is really a real thing, might I say.
It's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
It's a real thing. But she broke it down in such that, again, you don't have control.
Yeah.
So if you miss that phone call, whatever that phone call may be, what can you really do?
Yeah.
Well, what about an emergency? And what about this? Or what about before we have phones?
Yeah.
How do people deal with these emergencies? That person, again, I'm caring about somebody else's problem. They might have to deal with that problem until I'm able to be there to deal with it.
Yeah.
So you just got to, in protecting your own energy, the phone is a source of a lot of our problems.
Yes.
Again, a big gift. People were able to make money. People were able to take their dreams and aspirations to high levels, especially at a young age.
Yeah.
But we went to Noble, me and my wife. And I looked around. I was like, how are these people going to make it?
Yeah.
How are these people who are dating going to make it? They're on their phone.
Yeah.
They're not even looking at each other.
Yeah.
So you don't know. You probably talk about what you going to order and who going to pay the check.
Yeah.
Well, we assume the man's
Seriously.
going to pay the check. But
no, he ain't lying.
Right.
He ain't
but
lying.
I'm just saying that you're on your phone. And then we went to the movies because we still like to do regular date night stuff, like just normal, put your phone up, let's watch a movie. But then we in there looking old because everybody on their phone. And the movie people don't tell you, get off your phone.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just kind of like, how are you going to ever get to know a person when you're just in this consistently? I think that we don't understand, as some people say this is an extreme ideology, this is the new crack cocaine. And we all on crack.
We all crackheads, y'all. We gonna work it out.
We all on crack.
We all gonna work it out.
Could y'all go a year without your phone?
Oh, absolutely not at this given period of time. I'm gonna be 100% honest.
You'll be so free.
Yeah. And I
no cell phone.
I fantasize about being at that place. I'm not.
What is it that ties you to your phone?
Control. It'd be like it's control. It's like thinking that I won't have access to something that's for me by not being accessible. So it's access to my children. I'm in a co-parenting situation.
You know what you're describing?
Go ahead, bring it down.
A distraction.
Distraction.
You have just the epiphany of the biggest distraction.
Yeah.
That's all distractions, because you got to think about, again, life before phones, life before regular phones, whatever the case is, like life before these phones.
It was
before
different.
Cell phones. Maybe I'm a little older, so maybe I remember it a little more.
Yeah.
But for one, back in the day, you ain't gonna trap your phone out like that. No way.
That's
we
true.
had roaming charges and all this other stuff, so your bill would be crazy. You know what I'm saying? But a year without your phone, what you think?
I feel like, we can't go without it now. But
I talk about you.
Me?
Yes.
Can I go a year without my
Yes.
phone? If I got my family next to me, that means all my kids, my wife. Yeah, I can. No, I can't.
Why?
Because how am I going to communicate with you, DJ Scream?
You write a letter. Shoot a kite.
But the way USPS is going.
Shoot a kite.
With
So listen, you know why I would embrace it? Because I didn't know, another big source of my anxiety, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do when COVID came. I had 13 booked dates that got canceled in one day, added up. And I literally was like, oh boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I figured it out. It made me stronger. It was one of my homeboys. I was like, man, just calm down, man. Get Zoom. And I'm just like cussing him out, like, bro, you telling me to get Zoom, bro? I just bet my money's gone.
What'd you have to use for Zoom though?
Zoom was the way to keep Big Facts going, which actually
Yeah.
made Big Facts bigger.
Yeah.
I hit bank and I'm like, bro, get Zoom. He like, all right, whatever you say, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You think we smarter now as a culture with our phones now, or back in the day when we had like without the phones, like we had?
I think we are stupid as a culture today because we go to Chat GPT and Apple Intelligence for everything. We don't think about nothing.
And back in the day when you used to use your computer, you was only going on the computer to research stuff.
Right.
But then we had like MapQuest and things like that where you could, print out the
But you don't remember nothing. We don't all
Think-
all our memories are shot. We
Think
don't remember
about
nothing.
simple things though. Going off that tangent, maps. Like
Yeah.
my pops told me something probably about 2 months ago, y'all. He was like, I really try to stay in the discipline of remembering how I get places.
Do you know how to
Because-
read a map?
No.
All right. So if it hit, yeah, yeah,
That part.
definitely now that I can't do.
I done had a couple people go to jail and be like, I
But-
couldn't tell nobody I was in here because I couldn't remember no phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, and it made me think like, dang, that's perspective.
But if we had a tech meltdown, bringing in Courtney and Jose too, if we had a tech meltdown where we could not use this for 72 hours,
Whew.
then what we gonna do? Because it's coming.
Yeah.
We gonna have a tech meltdown, just like that bank meltdown happened. It's coming. It's
Delta.
going to happen.
Delta.
Delta,
It's already been happening, when AT&T when they had their
when they had theirs.
Yeah.
nobody could.
And Verizon.
But I ain't gonna,
yeah.
and Verizon, but I'm gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. Like, even though I called Verizon and gave them hell, made them make my bill free and all that stuff, I was so happy that day.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. Like, I ain't got no, bro, my phone down. You can't hit me. I can't hit you. I'm off.
Yeah.
It's a real holiday. Because even if you get a real holiday, you still on the phone.
Yeah. No, this is true.
It's
And
our
then I
biggest
think even
distraction.
for me, like, so majority of my family is back in Wisconsin/Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, like, that's how my kids have developed their relationship, sitting on FaceTime and everything.
Get
yeah.
your home phone.
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah. I ain't even think about that. Cause think about it, they not selling
I saw a record
CDs.
player in here. Ain't no record player.
They ain't selling CDs how they used to though. It's
You need to
available
get
now
you
on
a
all streaming
$20
platforms.
record player and have your little vinyl.
I was about
I'm
to
not
say
talking
you
about
going.
me.
I said you gonna have to lead the way with this one.
$20, you can go get you a turntable
Yeah.
and you can start collecting vinyl.
So you feel like we should basically go back to that era as regards to go to.
We just need
I
balance.
feel like there's a lot of, think about this, all of us crackheads, right? How do you act when you lose your phone? You start getting you're a crackhead.
You're
You
thinking about
acting like a
everything you
fiend.
can't access.
You
Yeah.
tripping out. You like, I can't find my phone. Well, you can still like go to the grocery store without. No, I can't go without my phone. I'm talking to myself like, why can't I go to the grocery store without my phone? I got
Yeah.
my wallet. I could just go to the grocery store, get my groceries, and
Mm-hmm.
then on the way back, my brain will probably free itself, and I'll figure out where my phone is.
I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely done that a couple times where I left my phone and it was like the decision that you're making as you're driving. Am I about to turn around and go get it, or am I about to just go ahead and go on this mission and
That's
come
crack.
back?
That's
Seriously, but you ain't lying, because I'm just thinking about it as you're talking. Like, wow, there is the true dependency on. Like you said, it has its benefits for sure.
Yeah.
I think as with anything though, it's really learning to implement the balance. Like you
Yes,
know,
you want balance.
gotta have the balance of it, because I be on Do Not Disturb all day.
But they send people to Alcoholics Anonymous and substance abuse programs because they know they can't create balance. So you think that somebody who is a pure alcoholic is going to risk, if they have one drink, you think they're going to be like, yep, I've had one drink. No.
No, yeah, it's overly indulging in it.
I'm just saying, and I'm not saying I'm giving up my phone unless somebody pay me to give up my phone. But
Okay, y'all heard him.
I'm just saying that we're all addicted to phones.
Yeah.
I was gonna say actually social media before I said the phone, but when I think about it, it's other stuff in the phone.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not on social media, I might be on DraftKings or Underdog Fantasy doing fantasy football or doing this and that and that and that, or on Apple Music. I spend a lot of time on Apple Music, which is not a bad thing, But sometimes it can be a distraction. Sometimes I'd probably just need some silence,
Yeah. Yeah.
in my opinion.
No, I agree. I
So
definitely agree.
maybe it's one of those necessary distractions.
Yeah.
But
I
it's a
think it's the balance. I think a thing can only be a distraction as long as it's deterring you. And the way that you prevent it from deterring you, the one thing you control is the balance.
Hold on, I got a debate with you.
Go
You
ahead, come
said
on now.
something can only be a distraction if it's deterring you.
Yeah.
Now, what if that person or thing that we were talking about earlier that
Yeah.
you love is not purposely deterring you or even trying to deter you? It just puts you in the space of being distracted.
Yeah. But I didn't say it was purposeful deterrent.
Got you.
You see what I'm saying? So
got you.
sometimes too, that's where your awareness comes in for the balance. Like how you said, even with the phone, like it's a great viable asset to make money. However, the caveat to that, if you get on the other side of the thought, is it can also be a means for you to lose money if you spending too much time doing the wrong thing. If you scrolling and getting lost in the hype of other things, and you're not making intentional phone calls to make sure that you're getting certain things marked up. So I think, as with anything, it's like you gotta have balance. Like you have to learn, and balance for everybody does not appear and look the same thing. There's some times where you might talk to me and we might have a conversation. You might need 3 hours of phone time because of everything that you're having to manage. I might find that I only need an hour because that's all that it takes for me to manage the things that I need. So I think the awareness and the intentionality of being like, okay, what's necessary for me is something that we could all as a unit kind of work towards.
But we've all had that moment, right?
Oh, for sure.
If you know something, if you know you have an addiction to something, right?
Yeah.
Then you probably just say, I'm just gonna leave that. I can't eat no more of that. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah.
I can't do it. This particular person or whatever, like I can't deal with that. I'm gonna just cold turkey, just kind of just leave it alone. So why, and I'll leave it alone after this. Why is it, and this might not even be possible. Why is it with this right here, we don't do that? Like, there's actual like 3-day phone challenges where they say, can you get off that phone for 3 days?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at people that are like, I made it 12 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, again, going back to it, what we're talking about in the last episode, like, I think I haphazardly, it might have been a day and a half, I went on my phone when my daughter was born.
Yeah.
Because I was locked in, for real. Like, this is what I'm paying attention to. Y'all can wait.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, the baby's here. The baby's healthy. This is the time. Spread the word. I'll get back to y'all.
Right.
I can't get this moment back.
A minute.
That's
yeah.
another thing I feel like the phone robs us of moments we can't get back.
I agree. I definitely agree.
I went to this man's wedding. I'm not all in the I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I'm sitting here praying for my brother to have a blessed union, you know what I'm saying? And that this wedding be peaceful and blessed. I'm sitting over there saying a little prayer. Everybody else.
I love the pictures, the moments that it's able to capture, to go back and show.
For that.
Because, correct, that's what I was just about to say. But it's like the balance, you get some to keep to yourself, and then, like you said, you acknowledge that somebody is literally being paid to be here.
I feel the balance word.
But I think that all comes over time. And with awareness and knowing, like, your boundaries. Because, like, how can a boundary be a boundary if you're never actually put in a predicament to implement it?
That's real.
Like, even me, like, I've been there, relationships where you be like, I'm not dealing with you ever. And then you come back around and it's like, wow, I remember this moment, this memory, this feeling. Okay, but I have this boundary about how much I'll allow you to get out of me, time, energy, effort.
Do you think that when you do that, though, with certain things that you may be addicted to, whatever it may be, don't you just end up binging and going harder? Like, if you get off of the crack and you say, I'm off crack, then you go try to dibble-dabble with the crack. Don't you end up being a crackhead times 3?
I think it depends on the person and why you're doing it, and the awareness and intentionality when you're trying to learn to implement a boundary. For me, like I said, like, I had to learn that it's not enough to just get away from something to say that you've learned from it. It's not enough. Like, you do have to, in God's provision, He'll put you back in those situations to see how you're, learning the boundary and things. Like, for you to go back in the same room you came out of and see, like, how do I protect? Because that's what a boundary does for me. That's what I define it as. It's my protection. And so, how do I protect myself being put back in the same situation? Because that is also an awareness of how much have you actually learned. What do you need to go back to the drawing board and maybe learn to do a little better, And I don't think you can just, it's enough. I used to think that my boundary is that I'm just not going to F with you no more. Cool, I'm not going to talk to you. Don't hit my line no more. And honestly, in conversations of like forgiveness and either actively giving or receiving apologies or having reflective conversations is where I've learned that we also have to understand that just as we have the capacity to change, other people have the capacity to change, and part of forgiveness is being able to create healthy boundaries with the person while also acknowledging the times, moments, and conversations, whatever, encounters where you didn't have them. Because that kind of stresses the importance of the boundary later, too. Like, I remember back when, and it's crazy, I've been having a lot of these conversations lately, but it is extremely validating to come to that place because when you sit down with a person you once didn't have any boundaries with, a lot of times the boundaries kind of enforce a different understanding mutually, They can go back and reflect and say, hey, look, I wasn't really feeling this. You can go back and say, I really wasn't feeling this. This doesn't work for me. This doesn't work for you. That's how you kind of draw a deeper connection with people, not just relationship-wise, but family members, everything. Like, you got to be prepared to be put back in the same position to be able to better implement different things that you may have lacked prior.
I like that.
Yeah.
So let's take Auntie Z. Her name is Auntie Z.
Come on.
Auntie Z, your favorite auntie.
Yeah.
She took care of you when you was young, you know what I'm saying, and so forth and so forth and so forth. When you get around Auntie Z,
yeah,
whatever the conversation, and it's not from a place, not from a bad place with Auntie Z, but when you get around Auntie Z, you see that the conversation flows to a distracted place and gets you away from the place that you want to be.
Yeah.
You love Auntie Z.
Love her.
Good person.
Love her.
Do anything for her.
Mm-hmm.
But Auntie Z takes you from this place to this place.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do about Auntie Z?
Oh, I gotta know.
You can't really say,
Go ahead.
You can't really say balance in this situation because Auntie Z is an OG. She is who she is at this point. She's 60-something. She's Auntie Z, and she gonna tell you
that's how
this what I think about that old Puff Daddy. I'm telling you this what I think about Omni, and I'm telling you. So what do?
I know my capacity. I learned my capacity with Auntie Z, and what I mean is that sometimes, have you ever been in a room, and I don't know if y'all have ever been in these positions where it's like you're listening to somebody talk, but I'm not receiving the information. I'm not charging it to my memory bank. I'm allowing a person the space to talk.
Auntie Z.
Not necessarily ignoring. I'm just aware what my capacity is with Auntie Z. So when she goes down that tangent to where it starts being too much negativity and everything else, guess what? I know God's provision might be here for me to let you release that. But it doesn't mean I have to receive that. I don't got to take that in and walk away with it. I can just leave it right with this conversation with Auntie Z. Now, am I a perfectionist at it? No, y'all. I'm still learning because I'm still human. But it's something I'm proactively working on because sometimes, and I had a conversation with Baby. And I was telling him about how I had went out and I was around a whole bunch of people and they were in a club and they were doing the thing. I'm like, that's just not my place to be there no more. And he gave me a different perspective, though, because he was like, no, you was exactly where you was supposed to be. He was like, not everything's always going to be confined to what you think is right for you. Sometimes God puts you in places for you to still be his provision because that's where it's all coming from at the end of the day. And I was like, you know what, you're right. He was like, it doesn't mean what they're doing is right or wrong. And it's okay if it's not all the way for you, but clearly it was for you because you were there. And I was like, dang, that's perspective. So now, the next time that I went out, I stayed more present, but I also, too, was comfortable with my capacity. Like, I knew when it was my time to go, and I was comfortable to say that and leave within that boundary. So I think, too, understanding your capacity of certain things is important, too, and not putting it off on people like you're wrong or what you're doing is wrong. Like, it goes back to that control thing. I'm just here to plant the seed. I might offer you a few good words, but I have no expectation that that's going to change your behavior. I'm just here to plant the seed.
Can you be a distraction to yourself?
Yes.
How?
My thoughts.
Thoughts.
My thoughts. That them ants, it's crazy because my pops just said it to me the first time like 3 days ago. I never had heard automatic negative thoughts. And I was like, dang, that is where I become my biggest distraction, you know? And so for me, it's like learning to reaffirm myself in a different manner and kind of find the positive in the negative, which isn't always the easiest thing to do, but I think in the consistency of trying to implement that discipline, I do a lot better and not just sitting. Because I know negative thoughts are a natural part of feeling. Sometimes they're a result of negative feelings or previous experience and triggers and things. And so I'm learning too, like, don't beat yourself up because you had a negative thought. It's about what you do with it. How are you going to carry into, your course of action? So that's how I be distracting myself. What about you?
I think that the mind is definitely, and the thoughts is definitely your biggest distraction to yourself. Because even the things I was going to say, they still come from the thoughts, like limiting yourself. So having like a limited conversation of I can't do this, or I probably can't do this, or I may not be able to do this, or I don't think this is, those negative affirmations and everything still come from your thoughts. And I think that could be the biggest obstacle / distraction to anybody to stop them from progressing. Is just like you say, that mind.
Yeah.
That mind.
And a lot of them thoughts I'm starting to realize, and I think triggering used to make me feel weak. And I'm now understanding that triggering can actually be provision as well. Like sometimes you have to be triggered by things in order for you to learn from them, in order for you to acknowledge a feeling or emotion or experience that you may not have actually taken heed to, fully. So for me, I'm kind of learning to embrace that word too. Like when I'm reflecting on things, like, what, in that moment you were triggered. And now let's break that down. Let's give myself the time to see, like, where is that coming from? Not saying the next time it happens, I won't be triggered, but I might not be as triggered. And then I might come to a certain point from that discipline and consistency of thinking and such, like, to where it doesn't trigger me no more. Now I can say that I'm proactively healing from it because I've allowed the wound to completely see it through its course,
What do you say if you know you mean well in your heart, but you can feel yourself being a distraction to someone else?
Honestly, I find that I can become a big distraction to people by being someone they can always call to solve everything. So for me, I've also learned, and my pops calls it the invitation. I look for the invitation now for people to need me instead of just proactively offering it, because I feel like it kind of debilitates people sometimes. Sometimes people need to take the opportunity to sit in it. I was just talking to my girlfriends earlier, and we had a situation where one of them got pooped on and by a bird. By a bird. But look, the power of the conversation though, y'all, because one of our other friends, she had offered her perspective, and she's like, it's cool because sometimes sometimes you gotta sit in it. And I was like, dang, the shit.
That's a deep conversation.
You gotta sit in the shit.
She got pooped on by a bird.
Yeah.
Y'all were there for her?
And we were still smiling and laughing about it, because guess what? She sat in the shit, and guess what she did? She wiped it off. And so listen, hear me out now. The other side of that thought was, you sat in it. You couldn't find the paper towel and everything at first, but when you did, it was just that easy. You wiped it off, you cleaned yourself, and it was over with. There was a purpose behind that, though.
What was the purpose now?
The purpose was the provision, but we was thinking from more of a holistic perspective. Like, sometimes
everything happens for a reason.
Yes, everything happens for a reason. Think about it, like,
I would have sat there the rest of the day wondering why I got pooped on. Be mad when somebody poop on my car, so I can imagine a bird poops on my car, so I can imagine a bird pooping on me.
Listen, but I loved our conversation as I reflected even driving over here. Because I'm like, number one, it was a laugh I didn't know I needed. It was like an excellent laugh. She embraced it with such big energy. But like, it kind of was like a sister moment to where we were all offering different perspectives on what that could have meant and how she dealt with it. And so it's like, sometimes the shit got a purpose too. And when we looked at it like that, it was kind of cool because we wished each other well on the rest of our day. Like, look, that's not the end of your day.
I think that's the real, like, I salute y'all, because one of y'all called me talking about y'all got pooped on by a bird. I'm going to hang up on you. Homie, you going to have to deal with that. That sounds personal.
Oh, shit.
I can't.
Bring me a shirt. You on your way, you leaving the house.
I'm probably way further from you with a shirt than somebody else. You probably closer to the dollar store than you ought to be.
I think what Scream is trying to say, y'all, is that he's not the best person to call if you have a bird that poops
Not
on
if
you.
you got a bird.
Everybody has their strengths and
I'm a great
weaknesses,
person
though.
to call with a lot of things.
Yes.
But I got too much going on to worry about your bird poop.
Look,
See, you're going back again to I got my own
your
problems.
capacity.
You gonna have to worry
That was
about
your
that bird poop.
capacity.
Now, if you call me about something else, you know I got you. That bird poop, you gonna have to call T. You have to call somebody else.
Look, I
can't
ain't
help
gonna lie though, it was a cool, like, it ironically, it really was a cool sisterhood moment. And but then too, like, even hearing the growth of the person in the conversation and just like, you know what, that wasn't the end of my day. You know, like, it's cool. It might have happened, and we was thinking, you know, we getting all prophetic about it. I ain't gonna go too deep, but it was just like, you know what?
Oh, so y'all thought this was like a sign
Yeah.
and a spirit or an ancestor or something?
It could have been anything. It might have just tell her to just be still. Look, go back, start your day over, renew your energy. You might have been.
Okay.
And when she got to describing how she been feeling even in the day too, it was kind of dope because it was
I can actually
like,
go for that.
wow, I didn't even think about it like that. But guess what? She got to start her day over. She smiling, eating, enjoying herself just the same. So
I love
you
the
know,
spirit.
yeah, I love what God is doing with the capacity of my awareness personally right now, because it's actually helping me with things that would normally distract me. Because sometimes, like I said, it'd be my thoughts. So I'll stay stuck on something like you said with the bird poop. It'd be like, man, what the hell? I done got pooped on and like this is the end of my day. But like being able to overcome that perspective and be like, you know what? Life goes on.
Yeah.
It continues on. There was a reason for that. Look, I went back and look, I got 2 showers today. It's cool. We moving on. You know, like it's just a different way of thinking.
I got
Yeah, it's just like it's a blessing with that perspective, you know, and being able to be aware. Because the way when you draw nearer to that peace of mind when things happen, and it's like, you know what, it is what it is.
It is what it is. I agree with that.
And what it's gonna be is gonna be.
Yeah. So what if you cannot? What if you're not able to eliminate the distraction? It's not possible given the circumstances.
I don't think distractions will ever not be a thing for people. I think that, let me take that back. I think the power we give distractions is what the key to overcoming them is and properly navigating them is. And so, like, distractions.
Let's just say, I'm just want to
Go
throw
ahead.
this out. What if you had a roommate?
You got a roommate. Yeah, you know, their problems, their conversation, their life. But a lot of that boils down. It boils down to control,
maybe their
though.
habits.
A lot of it
Maybe the
boils
way
down
they
to
live,
control.
but this is your roommate. You have to
Yeah.
coexist in the same space with this roommate.
Facts.
And they just don't vibe how you vibe. And the reality is it's 6 months left on that lease.
So let's talk about it. Responsibility and accountability. You have a responsibility to see through that last 6 months because in your accountability, you made the decision for you to have this roommate. And so there were probably previous indicators. You know, they say you don't really know a person till you live with them.
Right?
It's very true. However, you still have to go back to the initial. You chose that person. However, it was best conducive to your situation at the time. Let's accept responsibility. The learning part and the other side. I told you I'd be working. Let me get on the other side of that thought. You might be frustrating the hell out of me right now, but I will not make that decision again because I know my capacity now. My capacity is not to live with you. You just need to be my friend. You know, we need to coexist, but I need to still have my safe place and environment because how you choose to live, I'm not judging you. I'm not telling you it's right or wrong. However, it's just not for me. I think that's where the capacity part, you have to understand what's for you. And when you talk about the phone being a distraction, I think that's where it's the biggest distraction is we get so used to scrolling and seeing different things on social media, YouTube, TikTok, everything. We see how everybody else is living and we assume a certain livelihood and we associate it with people. But in reality, that's why, like, even with us being in this space and talking about intimate topics, it's so valuable because people need to know, like, there's a human nature to every person. No matter how much money, success, whatever you have going on, like, there's a human nature to people that you may not always get to experience. And we get locked in on the social media perspective of a person and don't always go into the reality, like, we still have problems. We still experience distractions. We have family issues, etc. You might not see everything. And that's where you have to understand that social media is a persona. It's not a person. So.
What's some other distractions you have been privy to for some other people? Maybe stuff that doesn't distract you, but distracts other people. I always talk to people kind of like about their vices.
Yeah, I think like alcoholism,
drugs,
and then like
use,
just like the need to have a companion.
shopping.
This is true.
Shopping.
That is retail therapy is really a real thing.
It's a real thing.
It really is a real thing. There are people who I know that it'll be like, oh my God, they'll tell you like the absolute craziest story. Like, what? I just went in, bought such and such.
Which is fine if you want to come to Lucid F Club. You can buy everything.
Definitely buy everything.
Come here and shop as much as you want. This is where you get your retail therapy.
Yes, absolutely.
But if you're going other places,
just balance. Don't overcompensate. There's some people I know like they'll overspend.
Well, there's people who buy stuff that they never even get close
use.
To where it never. I'm talking about. I watched a documentary on a lady who was like, I probably use a third of the clothes I buy, and the other 2/3 I end up giving away or whatever the case is. But again, that retail therapy is like, she suffered from depression. Yeah. So she would just go out and shop. It made her feel different.
I'll remember the word as we continue to talk, but dopamine.
Dopamine. It gives you the dopamine.
Dopamine.
But it's so temporary.
Yes, it is. But I'm kind of starting to think dopamine is temporary because my pops was kind of breaking it down to me the other day just about different things that we do to get a dopamine. He was like, that like that you get on Instagram, that comment, it be like a dopamine. I mean,
even the exercise.
Come on now.
The exercise on Monday, you're going to feel great, but you got to do it again Tuesday. You got to do it again. Great.
Yeah, it's like the consistency of it. And so I think part of it in your awareness is like understanding what does give you that dopamine high, and then properly navigating like, okay, now let me evaluate, is this actually conducive to my success? Should I eliminate this type of dopamine and maybe try to implement, like I keep telling myself, even for me, to balance out the social media, let me just get a new hobby. Because I like the social interaction of social media. Like, I love doing my prayers. I love interacting with different positive reinforcements on social media. Another thing I want to be more accountable for is social media kind of has become like my news. So I'm like, you know what, I should start, even though the news does get a bit like social media because it's propaganda and everything, but like getting in the discipline of like either having conversations with people about the news, or like I've been kind of implementing that more into my day-to-day instead of it being like I just see something on social media, gather up a couple facts like an investigator and think I know the story. Like let's have more in-depth conversations about that, like you said, off the phone. But learning to like, okay, what is the dopamine high that kind of comes from those interactions that I'm used to engaging in, and how can I find me another hobby that gives me something similar that may be a little bit more productive? It's just evaluating oneself a lot of times when it comes to distractions, like what works for you.
So I do agree that you should exercise and learn balance.
Yeah.
I could sometimes be all or nothing. But don't you think that if you were on that island in seclusion with your family,
to be specific,
you could avoid a lot of this stuff? Like, would you care about the latest, greatest news topic if you had all your people with you and you were in seclusion?
If I had all my people with me, I think they would be enough worldly news, to be honest. to be real, everybody just is so different, you know, and they have their little things. So I agree. Being in that secluded environment, we'd probably have like our own little Fox 5 going on.
I just want people to embrace solitude because I know, and it's not that, I have to have a daily certain amount of solitude. Yeah. Just sets me. It might be 10 minutes. Yeah. I need 10 minutes to myself. Yeah. Just to hear my thoughts, hear my conscious, my subconscious, just to let it happen. Like I gotta have that every day. Yeah. That's what I learned. So I just want people to embrace that because some people don't get it for years. Yes. Some people are always either talking or being spoken to, and they just never get a moment to just process. Exactly. Yeah, and like take it in for themselves. No, I agree. I used to be one of those people, to be honest, where it was like I grew up being the oldest of 5 younger brothers and sisters, and then it was like having siblings, cousins, mom's friends. Everybody's always around. It's always action going on. Like I learned to be like striving chaos. I
I learned to really strive and care. That's why I'm so good at adjusting and navigating, like when situations don't go my. It's probably the reason why I am the way I am right now. But I also learned as I grew an adult and I got more in solitude, I learned to not fear loneliness and really understand like what being all one in my alone time was, like what it meant for me specifically, and being comfortable enough, like I don't always have to be fully vested in other people and things that they have going on. It's okay for me to invest that energy in myself. So going back to the balance part, like that's where I'm learning my balance too. Like it's okay for me to take some of that time and push what I need to do for myself, because when you change, everything around you change. If I'm better for the world, I can be better for all the people that I desire to help in my heart. And it might just be for a season, and it might be for a long period of time for certain relationships that I have, but like being comfortable to make that call about myself has definitely helped me kind of eliminate distractions in my life for sure.
Some people who've had to go through incarceration would say that's the only probably positive thing in incarceration is that you actually have to sit down and have some solitude time or time to think. And sometimes a lot of people say, man, some people go to jail and they come out brand new and then, like spiritually aware and all this other stuff. But I think that some of those people, especially if you come from the streets, you've been running the streets your entire life, you never even had time to sit back and just think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you've been in a defense mode your whole entire life, like trying to survive, trying to be, trying to live up to this street character, or whatever the case is, and you never even sat down and had time to think until, unfortunately, you might have been incarcerated and you had to sit down and think or read that book or pray or whatever the case is because you had to.
And that's where I hope too, like we are not at all promoting you being incarcerated.
No.
We don't agree with
Try
that.
to do it when you're out. Free.
Yes.
Take the time when you're out and free so that you don't have to.
Facts. And that's what I was just going to say, like just being able to, and that's something I hope that we bring as a unit in these conversations, is just a place for people to be able to learn the value of their alone time and then implement it into their day-to-day, because a lot of times people get, like you said, they get so lost in their persona that they forget about the person behind it, and so it's just like, I'm going to keep saying the word balance. Balance is peace for me, just like that. I know what my capacity is. I know how much of this I should do, how much I shouldn't, and it's going to take time. It's going to take situations where I do too much of something or I do too little of something, but, finding that harmony.
I had to receive balance. Sometimes I ain't going to lie, I forget that word, but I have to receive it because everything is balanced. You got day, you got night, you got hot, you got cold. The earth rotates. How it rotates is balanced. You understand what I'm saying? Like you got yin, you got yang. So I'm gonna take that from this conversation and use the word balance and not be so all or nothing. Because I'll just go to Mars. Say hell with y'all. I'm gone.
You ain't lying, and I feel like you serious too.
I'm serious.
I definitely feel like you serious.
I'm serious, but yes, let's exercise. Let's assess our distractions for sure, and let's definitely exercise balance. I received that.
Yes. Yeah. I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Final words? A prayer.
Yes.
We talked about this. You want to lead us in prayer?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Father God, I come to you as humbly as ever, and I thank you for these big moments, big energy, big conversations. I ask that you continue to help us all implement balance into our lives, whether it be limiting our distractions or conversations, automatic negative thoughts. However it goes, God, we just ask that you continue to lead us in our purpose, in our divine interactions with the world around us, that we continue to be great, believe in ourselves, and get closer to you in the process. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Big energy room. Salute.
This is a Big Facts Network exclusive.